So when you jump online, you want to make sure that your market is available online. Now you can reach them online, like you can target them, but you want to make sure that they're easily targetable, right? And making sure that whatever market you go after, like there's that constant pool of replenishment. Welcome to Sold with Webinars, a podcast that aims to uncover how the most successful experts, coaches, consultants, and e-course professionals sell their products and services with just one sales presentation or webinar. A simple sales webinar can transform the business and life of a solopreneur. And this podcast will show you how other experts just like you are generating 6 and 7 figures per year online with their webinars. If you'd like to join our Facebook community where I share exclusive members-only content, join our Sold with Webinars Facebook group. For blogs, content, and information about our webinar services, visit thewebinaragency.com. And to download a free comprehensive 6-month, $466,000 webinar case study, go to soldwithwebinars.com. Now, let's get started. Hey, expert, what's going on? It's Joel here. Welcome to another episode of Sold with Webinars. You ever get that light bulb moment, that idea moment that just gets you so stinking excited that you can't wait to just shout on the rooftops and be like everyone needs to listen to what I'm talking about. Everyone needs to listen to my idea, right? As entrepreneurs, I'm sure you never have this shiny object syndrome. You never get that. You never get that feeling, do you? So today I had that feeling as well, and I get it all the time. I'm probably the most ADD person you will ever find. I'm working on it. Ask my wife. I promise you I'm working on it, but I wanted to kind of share my ADD with my audience today because it's very, very important for us to understand some things as we start to build out our offers, build out our models, and build out our businesses with all sorts of new ideas that we've got. The past few weeks, I've been taking more calls. I like listening to my customers. I like talking to my customers, talking to prospects, seeing what's happening in the marketplace, just like all of you should be doing, right? You should never be just hiding behind your computer. You should be listening to your prospects because your market is changing all the time. And so what I wanted to do on this episode is I wanted to kind of fill you in on a conversation that I had recently with a prospect, because I think they're probably not suffering, but I think that you would probably have some of these same ideas as well. So a couple of weeks ago, I was on the phone with somebody who was interested in working with me on a one-on-one basis in my consulting program. And we're not cheap. We're in the 5-figure range. At the current point, the fee for me is $5,000 the first month and $2,500 for any subsequent month after that. Obviously, that's subject to change. I don't know when you're going to be listening to that, but anyway, so I was talking about this prospect, and he was very interested. He said he was sick and tired of buying courses and following this model, following that model, and following all of this other advice, and he just really didn't know where to get started. Now, this guy had actually done a lot of market research and legwork, and he had been speaking to his prospects and trying to do outreach, trying to do cold outreach. He had a successful business. He was tired of the feast or famine mode because he would just get lots of referrals one month and then he wouldn't get any the next month. It's a constant up and down, up and down, up and down. And as you know, what we focus on over here is paid traffic acquisition methods. And so he was on the phone and he was like, I really want to get my lead generation system dialed in. And specifically, we were talking about how to utilize a mini webinar to validate offers. He was really struggling with his message. He was really struggling with his offer to his industry. And he said, Joel, I understand, what you're talking about here, but my biggest fear is how do I know if my market is going to be reachable? And it's a very, very important question. It's one that I couldn't really answer for him, but I can tell him, I said, listen, if you've got, $200 or $300, the best way to figure it out is to start advertising, right? And so that was part of the answer that I gave him. But as you are out there and trying to decide what your next idea is, what your next market is going to be, the one big thing that you want to make sure that you have access to is you want to make sure that you have access to a market that is going to be constantly replenishing. And has a rather large reach. Now, if you're going with a high ticket offer, then, you still want to make sure it's got, a decent amount of reach. But this guy was trying to target boutique. I can't even remember off the top of my head what it was. It was boutique. It's some sort of design firm, but based in the UK, and that's totally fine, right? I mean, there's lots and lots of businesses that can do that, but I recommended to him, like, he was still trying to figure out his market. He didn't know if that market was going to be available online or not, and that was the biggest question that he had. And I said, well, listen, your primary problem right now is consistent lead gen, right? You don't want the feast or famine. So you've already committed to the fact that you're going to use paid advertising to make that work, right? And he said, yes, I want paid advertising to make that work. I'm like, okay, great. Well, the number one thing that you need to make sure is you need to make sure that your audience is reachable in your medium that you're going to be doing the outreach in. Because his prior methods were all referrals and networking and speaking and the whole 9 yards. And he's like, okay, I just want to turn on paid ads. It's like, it's not that simple, right? I mean, because what worked for you then may not work for you going online. And so when you jump online, you want to make sure that your market is available online. Now, you can reach them online, like you can target them, but you want to make sure that they're easily targetable, right? And making sure that whatever market you go after, like, there's that constant pool of replenishment. And like, this is just my methodology, especially if you're going with webinars, like the mass market opportunity, selling your stuff via, paid traffic and direct selling webinars. Like, absolutely, you want to make sure that market is constantly replenishing. So your messages don't die off and you've just got a new audience to speak with. Now, the way that I always launch my offers and my businesses and my perfect expert models is I always start out with the most intimate level first with mini webinars, like using direct response marketing to generate high ticket applications over the phone, using our mini webinar method and our perfect expert model. And that way I can talk to my prospects, I can talk to my audience quickly. And if I'm not generating phone calls for $20 or $50, if they're approaching $100 per phone call, then I'm doing something wrong. There's something that I need to look at. I need to pivot, right? And so that's the biggest thing that I want everyone to focus on right now is, whether you're using a mini webinar to generate your high ticket applications or your direct selling webinars, like, you just want to make sure that your market is constantly replenishing and it's constantly available to you on whatever paid media platform. Like, I'm assuming that you're doing paid media because there's tons of other methods out there for going to generate leads and they require a lot of work. And I'm not saying there's anything bad with that, but you just have to understand that there's different methodologies and different ways of thinking. So how can you figure out if your audience is constantly replenishing and making sure that you have a pool to pull from, right? That's the number one question you want to figure out. And the only way, or the easiest way to figure that out is to run some test budgets, $100 or $200, even $500. Like, we launched an offer a couple months ago and we spent $3,000 and we were generating applications for, I think it was like $500 a piece. It was even higher than that. And so that wasn't a viable method for us. And so we had to make some pivots and we changed our messaging to match with what the market really wanted. But a lot of times we can do it for less than that. That was kind of more of an extreme example. But the biggest thing that you guys need to figure out is making sure that your audience is available, because you want to make sure that they are ready and able to invest in whatever it is that you're looking for, right? We always start with the high ticket offer first, and then we scale down to the mass market with direct selling webinars. That's why you have mini webinars are step 1 and mass market webinars are step 2, right? So anyway, I hope that made sense to you. That is what got me excited, because it was kind of a light bulb moment that I had when I was talking to that prospect on the phone, and it was validated with another client who was using the mini webinars and actually promoting his mini webinars to a JV audience. And with just one email, he made like $16,000 with his high ticket sales, which was really freaking awesome. But it's because of everything that we just talked about here. So anyway, I felt like I was rambling a little bit, but it's a very, very important message to get across. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, message to market match is everything. And making sure that your audience is ready and able to buy and constantly repooling is the lifeline for your long-term success. And with that, I'll leave on a high note, on a positive note before I continue rambling. But anyway, enjoy your day, and we'll talk to you on the next episode. Take care. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to giving you the next one. For blogs, content, and information about our webinar services, be sure to visit thewebinaragency.com. If you'd like to download a free comprehensive 6-month, $466,000 webinar case study, go to soldwithwebinars.com. And if you'd like to join our Facebook community where I share exclusive members-only content, join our Sold with Webinars Facebook group. Finally, if you enjoy this content, be sure to give us an honest review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Join us next time, and I'll see you there.